Let's do 2017 AP macro. Number 3, a country is at full employment and produces 2 types of goods, consumers and capital. Draw a correctly labeled graph of the PPC with consumer goods on the horizontal. Consumer goods on the horizontal. Capital goods obviously on the vertical. Indicated point on the graph labeled X that represents full employment and a possible combination in which both goods are produced. So we could choose anywhere. Oops. We can choose anywhere on here. Let's just choose a spot. We'll label that X. That's our combination. We are obviously producing that many consumer, or that much capital and that much consumer. So we're good. I think we're done there. B, assume that there is an increase in a country's national savings. Draw a correctly labeled graph of the loanable funds market showing a change in the real interest rate from the increase in savings. So obviously you have to know supply of loanable funds, demand for loanable funds, supply and demand for loanable funds, real interest rate on the vertical, quantity of loanable funds on the horizontal. Now, this loanable funds graph, I think of it, and I think the best way to think of it is it's just money in the banks. It just shows what happens to the stock of money in banks, right? So think about that for a second. If people are saving more for retirement, where are they putting their money? They got to be putting it in the banks, right? So what happens to our supply of loanable funds? If more people are savings and they're putting it in the banks, then we know our supply of loanable funds is going to increase, shifts to the right. That is 1, that is 2. Show some arrows showing that shift. We need some lines showing what's happening to our real interest rate. That's really what everybody's concerned about, is that right there. We could do this IR1, maybe IR2. I think we're good. Don't forget to come in here and show some arrows showing that quantity of loanable funds. Obviously, people are putting more money in the banks, so that's going to increase the quantity of loanable funds. All right, real interest rate is obviously decreasing. We can see that. Now, this one tricks me every time. On the same graph from part A, show another point labeled Z that represents full employment and a new combination of consumer and capital goods consistent with an increase in national savings. Now, we should know that when the real interest rate goes down, what happens to investment? If interest rates, and these are domestic interest rates, right, are obviously falling, wouldn't our businesses find it more advantageous to take out loans, which is investment, and build stuff, right? So as those interest rates go down, more people take out loans. That means investment's going to go up. As investment goes up, what happens to what we call capital formation? Now, capital formation, we could call it capital goods. We could call it capital stock. I think the College Board uses all of those phrases interchangeably, just to be tricky bastards, right? Capital formation, capital goods, capital stock, all of those are the same thing. Now, I tend to recognize that when real interest rates go down, investment goes up, capital formation increases. I know this, but I tend to think of it as a long run thing, not a short run thing. There's not too many questions where they talk about it as a short run effect. Obviously, it is a short run effect in this situation, meaning that they want us to label a point Z as the new combination of consumer and capital goods. Well, lower real interest rates, higher investment, more capital formation, more capital goods. Tricky. To me, tricky, right? Because I tend to only think about that as a long run aggregate supply curve shift. And that's easy enough. We should also know aggregate demand and average supply graph, real GDP. Here's our long run aggregate supply. Here's our long run aggregate supply, our new one, right? In the long run, I know that our long run average supply would shift to the right because more capital goods, right, increases growth. More growth, remember, this is the long run effect. This is the short run effect. In the short run, I could do more capital goods. Obviously, I've got to give up consumer goods, but because I'm producing capital goods, that means in the future, I'll be able to have more growth. I'll have more tools, machinery, factories, equipment. I can produce more stuff. This will give me that long run aggregate supply curve shift. All right. Let's see if I could answer this really succinctly, though. I would say we shift to the right, start that. That gives them, that's 1 point. And then the explanation would be that as real interest rates go down, investment goes up, and capital formation would increase, causing capital growth in the long run. Easy enough. All right, my friends, take care, be safe. Let me know if I can help. Bye.